You feel like you don't fit in. You feel like everyone's judging what you're wearing. You feel like you're not going to get it. You feel like everyone's more qualified. This is your feelings. It has nothing to do with objective reality. Just because you're feeling it doesn't make it true. This is not about turn off your feelings and shut down emotionally and become a robot. It's about understanding. You get to feel. It's a privilege. What's up, ladies and chefs and gents? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sachin. I'm a professional coach and I've been creating coaching miracles since 2016. And today, the miracle we're creating is 7 ways to deal with anxiety in stressful times in life. Now, as you can see, our good friend Cyrax here looks like he's having a whale of a time. That's how I want to be light and breezy when it comes to anxiety. And I'll tell you a bit more about why I do this a little bit later on. So the first thing I want to talk about is breathing. How do you breathe? Not just when you're stressed, but generally in your life, how do you breathe? I remember I was talking to a breathwork practitioner once, and she said, how many places can you breathe from? I said, oh, like your nose and your mouth. She was like, no, never your mouth. I was like, whoa, okay, well, why not? She goes, your mouth is for eating and drinking. Your nose was designed for breathing. It's an intelligent design. Stop messing with it. I was like, oh, wow. She said, even when you're running, never breathe through your mouth. I was like, okay. Breathing contributes so much to what we're feeling in the body and in the mind. So an invitation for you is consider this. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and out for 4 regularly. Make it into a habit. I used to do this a lot when I was first getting started in like sorting out my mental health. I used to have crippling anxiety and depression. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning, couldn't talk to people, couldn't do social things. It was all overwhelming to me. And I was breathing like into here, short, sharp, and shallow. And like just not even realizing it. And I'm not talking about like a dog. I'm talking about like you don't even notice you're doing it. The first thing is become aware of your breath. How are you breathing? The second thing that I want to talk about is feelings versus reality. Okay, so let's say you walk into a group setting. It could be a clothing store, it could be a party, it could be a job interview, I don't know, whatever, right? Take your pick. You walk in and you feel like you don't fit in. You feel like everyone's judging what you're wearing. You feel like you're not going to get it. You feel like everyone's more qualified than you. This is your feelings, but it has nothing to do with objective reality. They're 2 very different things. Objective reality, your feelings, they don't impact it. None of that stuff could be true. Just because you're feeling it doesn't make it true. And this is not about turn off your feelings and shut down emotionally and become a robot. It's about understanding. Privilege in a feeling, you get to feel. It's a privilege, right? It's something nice. I never want to turn it off. It's beautiful. And it comes with responsibility. Just because you get to feel, it doesn't mean that everything you feel has a meaning. When you put a meaning on a feeling, that's when you start creating problems, especially when it comes to anxiety. I'll tell you a bit more about this in a minute. Event and interpretation is number 3. So let's say you get fired from a job, or you didn't get the job, or you at the party you went to, no one talked to you and you ended up sitting in the corner with the dog, which sounds like a great time to me. These are events. But what we do sometimes, which creates like more problems later on, is we create an interpretation of this event. Oh, no one talked to me at the party, so it means this. No one talked to me at the party is the event. The interpretation we've got is, oh, that means I'm not good in parties. So from that interpretation, the next event we create is, I don't go to parties. But the event on its own doesn't mean this interpretation. Again, like objective reality and what we think are 2 very different things. And it's really important that we get clear on this. Otherwise, we can go our whole lives just creating more and more of a mess everywhere we go for ourselves and other people. You get more and more closed off into this little box of, I don't go there and I don't do that because of this. It doesn't have to be the case. You can be free of that. You can choose to do whatever you want. You can create who you want to be. Objective reality, we've talked about it a few times. This is number 4. Objective reality will help you so much with dealing with anxiety. And I'll tell you about this now. Anxiety is not a condition. It is not something that's just going to jump on you one day and now you have it. It doesn't just fall from the sky. It has to be created. So objective reality, there's limitless possibilities. In our subjective reality, in whatever we think, there could be anxiety. There's like, oh, I'm hesitant about this, I'm worried about that. Objective reality and your subjective, whatever you think could happen, two very different places to come from. If I'm coming from what I think could happen in the future because of what's happened in the past, I'm limiting my experience of life. I'm closing it off into a tight box, and it's not very malleable, it's not very pliable. If I'm willing to look outside of what I think will happen based on the past, I can create a future that looks nothing like the past. That on its own, brothers and sisters, will set you free from any of this stuff. And it leads us nicely into, who do you want to be? Just because something happened in the past that made you feel anxious doesn't mean it's going to happen again. And it doesn't mean you have to change your relationship with the outside world. You don't need to start, avoiding public situations. You don't need to avoid public speaking. You don't need to avoid classes or parties. You can choose who you want to be. And it's not motivation. This is not like a pep talk. It's choice. You can choose if you want to be that guy who doesn't like parties. You can choose if you're going to be that girl who doesn't do group classes. You can choose these things. Or you can choose to be different. You can choose to go into it and enjoy it. And this requires you stepping out of your subjective reality, which is based on the past. This is who I am now. You can create who you are now. The past doesn't have to get involved with it. The past no longer exists. But if you keep creating from the past and get worried about the future based on the past, you're stuck in a little cycle and it will never end. The next thing is very important, number 6, changing our relationship to thinking from reactive to relaxed. So you can see Venom here. It looks like he's reacting to something pretty serious. He's got his tongue out, is looking like he's coming for you, right? What I want to get at with this is anxiety is not something that just happens to you. It's not a disease. It's describing the relationship you've got with thinking, which is out of your control. So if you start having thoughts about, oh my God, everything's going to go wrong, and oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and then I'll feel like this. That's describing your reactive relationship with thinking. You're having those thoughts and you're reacting to it by not doing certain things or doing certain things about what's going on in your head. This is not a disease, it's a misunderstanding. It's just a mental misunderstanding. It's not a mental illness, it's a mental misunderstanding. And if we get clear on that, then you can be free. You never deal with anxiety ever again. You'll just have thoughts. And a lot of thoughts don't need any action. That's what it means to have a relaxed relationship with thinking. It can be there. The thoughts aren't going anywhere. You can't control them. They're just going to happen. But you can change your relationship to them and be more at peace with yourself and be more at peace with whatever's going through your head. Because it's all okay. When you think about whatever it is that comes into your head, it's all okay. And there's no better or worse or bad or good. It's all okay. Just because it went through your head doesn't mean anything. And last but not least, number 7. This is my favorite. Knowing is the enemy of learning. How about that? Try that one on for size. So we got Sasuke Uchiha right here in the front. Now, I like to tie in little lessons and whatnot from anime, just like in our podcast with the incredible Alex Manzi, nerd life coaches. He's sitting in the back while I'm filming this. We tie in lessons from movies and anime and video games, and we take the lessons out of it and look at what we can learn. Sasuke is on the path of vengeance. He knows that what happened to him was wrong and he needs to get vengeance. A lot of us have this attitude with anxiety. I'm doing this a lot. My fingers are going to get cramped in a minute. We do this a lot with anxiety. Like, okay, something went on in my head and I have to react this way to it. This happened in the past, so I've got to react this way to it. There's a lot of knowing. But if we're willing to set aside what we think we know, we could come into interactions fresh. I'll give you an example. Let's say the last house party you went to was boring and awkward and no one talked to you, or you just didn't have a good time. Knowing is the enemy of learning looks like coming into the next one like, it's going to be crap. And it will be, because you're being that way. Whereas if you dropped the knowing, the next party you go to could be totally different. It could be so much fun. The next yoga class you go to, the next whatever. All these things could be so much fun, not just group settings, anything you want to try, anything you want to do. They could be amazing if you're willing to drop this idea of who you are based on things that have happened in the past and trying to predict the future based on the past. It's not an accurate prediction. Just because something happened before doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen again. However, if you come into the world with this happened before, so it's going to happen again, you're going to be looking for the cues that it's going to happen again. You're tying the dots together, you're drawing the dots together, you're making it happen. It doesn't have to be that way. And that, brothers and sisters, is what can set you free from anxiety. I'm going to stop doing this so I don't get finger cramp. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. We've got more great content like this coming your way on a regular basis. And I'll see you in the next video.